that he had put her head on a shelf and screamed at it for an hour, threw darts at it, and ultimately smashed her face in. He also cut her tongue out and her larynx and put them in a garbage disposal.
Tell me in a sentence who you are. Nobody. I'm a boxcar and a jug of wine and a straight racer if you get too close to me.
Do you ever feel violent?
Yes, I do.
What do you feel like doing?
Killing people.
You still feel like killing people?
Yes.
Describe the feeling that you get when you feel like killing people.
Well, last March 11th, I was hallucinating, and I took a razor blade and I cut a man's throat.
Here in the hospital?
Here in the hospital.
Do you think your brother made you?
Yes.
That's gruesome, Joe. That's horrible.
Yes, it is.
You don't blame me if I say I hope you never get out of this place.
I hope I never do either.
Well, good evening, everyone. All you Murder Podcast Show fans. Welcome to another fantastic Saturday evening here on the Murder Podcast Show. I am your host, as always, Tim, also known as
I am the architect.
The Architect. That's right. That is what they call me. And alongside of me for another week here is we don't have anybody. No Criminology Chris and no Classroom Jackie. That's all right, though. They were on vacation this past week and shall be returning home soon. And you will see them back on the show next week. Tonight, let's start off here with our sponsor. Per usual, we have Crafty Corner by Laura. Laura makes a wide selection of handmade crochets, plushies, both cute and creepy, animals, pop culture, fantasy, anime, and horror. They also specialize in custom orders like our voodoo doll there, and a few other custom orders that we have throughout the studio here. You can follow them on Instagram at the.crafty.corner.by-Laura. That's right, as I always say, there are 3 dots in there. Figure out where they go on your own. Numbers, we don't have a 1 minute of murder this week as well. We'll get back to all the normal scheduled programming next Saturday with all of that stuff. Numbers are still continuing to climb. The subscribers now on the YouTube channel are at 247. So that is climbing still every day, at least 1 to 2, if not more subscribers. I know the TikTok is well up over 1,000. And the Facebook and the Instagram are still climbing too as well. Instagram has the fewest amount, which is okay. I mean, not too many people really jump on the Instagram these days, so I know I don't personally. But per usual, we always do want to say, if you don't already subscribe to our YouTube channel here, please, if you wouldn't mind, click the like and subscribe button and hit the little notification bell. What that will do is it will notify you every time we are going live or about to go live. This evening, I got an old school case for you guys here. This one dates back, 1960s. This is also known as the bouncing ball killer. He was also known as a few different things, which we will get into. But let's go ahead and jump on in. So imagine you are waking up in the middle of the night. It's a turn of the decade, the summer of 1960 in LA. The air is heavy, the windows are cracked open to catch a breeze, and suddenly, through the quiet of your home, you hear a sound. It's rhythmic, childish, completely out of place. The sound of a toy rubber ball bouncing on the floor downstairs. To anyone else, it's just a neighborhood kid playing. But to the residents of LA during the 14th month window between 1959 and 1960, that sound was an absolute death sentence. It meant that one of the most elusive, terrifying, and completely forgotten serial killers in American history was standing just outside of your bedroom door. So today we are opening a cold case file that dates back more than 6 decades. We are talking about the predator known to the headlines as the bouncing ball killer or the rubber ball strangler. So when people think of LA serial killers, their minds immediately jump to the Manson family, the Night Stalker, or the Grim Sleeper. We've covered 2 of those in this show, and I believe both of them were in season 1, if I'm not mistaken. But what happened between May of 1959 and June of 1960 laid a blueprint of terror that completely paralyzed the city. 6 women dead, several others brutally assaulted, and the calling card, a simple child's toy left behind or heard bouncing in the dark. What makes this case so agonizing is how close the police came to catching him, the bizarre false confessions that derailed the investigation, and the fact that to this day, we still don't know his real name. So it's kind of like the Cleveland Torso Killer. That's another old one that eventually we might jump into. They never did find out who did it, unfortunately. So let's set the scene. It's May 28th, 1959. Hey, my birthday, not 1959, though. LA is booming, expanding rapidly, but the dark underbelly of the city is thriving just as fast. Our timeline begins with a 57-year-old woman named Ruth Gwynn. Ruth was just doing what millions of people do every single day. Walking home from a hard day's work, she was concerned, relentless, beaten, dragged into an empty parking lot, and assaulted. Witnesses actually heard the commotion and tried to intervene, causing the attacker to flee into the night. Tragically, Ruth did not survive. And this established a terrifying pattern. The killer was targeting a specific young woman demographic. Like many infamous serial killers, he was preying primarily on vulnerable, elderly women. So now we're going to fast forward to January 29th, 1960. 73-year-old Amanda E. Rockefeller is found murdered in an alleyway just 2 blocks from her home. Less than 2 weeks later, on February 10th, 60-year-old Anne is attacked and killed while simply walking to her local church. The city was beginning to realize that a monster was walking among them. So we have Ruth, that was May 28, 1959. She was 57, walking home. Amanda, January 29, 1960. She was 73 and she was near her home. Ann Cotter, February 10th, 1960. She was 60, walking to church. And Amira, I don't know, May 1st, 1960, 74 years old, and she was in her home. Strangulation. So when you look at the escalation here, it's very chilling. He goes from attacking women on the street to, entering their homes. On May 1st, 1960, 74-year-old Amira is strangled inside her own house. This tells us a lot about his psychological, on how he wants to do these crimes, It shows complete bizarreness. He no longer felt the need to hide. So the city's lack of, immediate answers kind of fed into him, and he's thinking like, well, you know what? I got away with this stuff out on the streets, so let me try to up my game, and I'm going to start going into these homes, So he's getting a little more brave. and he felt safe crossing the threshold into victims' sanctuaries. Up until mid-1960s, the police were dealing with a string of brutal strangulations, but the media hadn't quite connected with this whole, bouncing ball to the public yet. So they haven't really, they know about it, but they haven't announced it out there yet. So public doesn't really know much of what's going on. That all changed August 18th, 1960. This is the moment in the case file that absolutely sends chills down my spine. 51-year-old woman named Modi Hall and her 10-year-old granddaughter, Mary, are inside their home on Sand Street. An intruder breaks in, holding a blunt object. Modi's son-in-law, a 30-year-old man named Floyd, is asleep in another room. He is suddenly awoken by a sound. Looking at the official police report notes on Harris's statement, he stated he was awakened not by a scream, but by a strange moaning, followed immediately by the distinct rhythmic sound of a rubber ball bouncing on the hardwood floor. So just imagine that. You are awake in the middle of the night, just like I was saying when I first started, and all of a sudden you hear this, thump, 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 the sound of a bouncing ball. And at that time, you're probably thinking, especially if you don't have kids, you're like, well, wait a minute, who the hell's bouncing this bouncy ball in my living room, the middle of the night? I don't know about you, but I'd be like, okay, this is pretty weird. Harris leaps out of bed. He realizes something is horribly wrong. He spots the bouncing ball killer and chases him out of the house. Pursuing him through the dark LA streets for several blocks before losing sight of him. So Harris was like, hell no, not only am I going to chase you out of my house, but I'm going to continue to chase you for blocks down the street. Harris isn't playing, and you know what? I don't blame him. The killer was carrying a toy rubber ball with him. Why? We don't know. Was it a psychological tick? Was he using it to lure, victims? Or was it a tool of pure psychological warfare to terrify those nearby before he struck? The media caught wind of this, and overnight headlines dubbed him the bouncing ball killer. It sounds like, because we don't know, but it sounds like to me he wanted it to kind of become his thing to, terrify people. Just like I was saying, it was a tool of pure psychological warfare, terrify victims before he struck, pretty much to let them know, because once, media gets out there with it, he's getting attention and fame, and he's probably having fun with it at that point, because then everybody would hear the bouncing ball. They probably went to bed freaking themselves out, thinking like, what if I wake up the middle of the night and I hear this ball out in the, other room? So with the city in a total panic, the LAPD released a composite sketch drawn by police artist Hector Garcia. They are shaking down every lead, arresting everybody that they can, including a young man named Joseph Walter, who matched the sketch, but they can't make anything stick until July 12th, 1960. I have a picture here of the sketch of him. Put that up on your screen. That's the sketch that Hector Garcia drew that they only knew off of victim statements. Probably Harris would be one of them that chased him down that street. But that's the sketch, and that's all they really have to go off of. So if you think about it, that's anybody that they see out there that kind of portrays that sketch is, well, they're screwed at that point. Even if they didn't do nothing, they're going to get, questioned, arrested, taken in, and all of that until they can prove that, you know, where they were, what they were doing actually matches up. So, this is where the story takes a wildly bizarre turn. So the police respond to screams near a city college campus. They spot 35-year-old Raymond Ward Clemens getting into his car close to that college. Right nearby there, by Raymond's car, they find the body of 19-year-old woman Nina. Clemens is caught. They got him. They're like, this has got to be our guy. This body's right by his car, even though this guy was probably just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Clemens was an ex-con on parole from San Quentin, so that didn't help his cause there. He immediately confesses to murdering Nina, but during interrogation, he says something that makes the detectives' jaws drop. According to Clemens, when Nina got into his car, she jokingly asked him if he was the infamous bouncing ball killer. Clemens claims he looked at her and said, "Sure, I'm the bouncing ball killer. Look in the glove compartment. The ball is in there." He then proceeded to confess to police that he was in fact the serial killer they were looking for. LAPD thinks they've solved the crime of the century. They strap Clemens up to a polygraph test, asking him deep dive questions about the other 6 murders, but the results come back and they are shocking. Polygraph conclusively showed he was lying about the other murders. He was a killer, yes. He killed Nina and was sentenced to life in prison for it, but he was not the bouncing ball killer. He had merely co-opted the everybody or the police into thinking that's who he was, or out of a sick sense of humor during his crime. This completely derailed investigation. While police were busy untangling Clemens' lies, the real bouncing ball killer was still out there watching the circus unfold from the safety of the crowds. Well, think about that. I mean, here they are. They think that they got him. And lo and behold, they didn't. And yes, that guy did end up killing, Nina. And here I was thinking maybe at first he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, but he ended up doing it. So, but this guy here is like trying to say like, oh yeah, I did it. I'm the bouncing ball killer. Look in the glove box, blah, blah, blah. I probably didn't even have a ball in the glove box. It's probably when he ended up killing her when she went to go open it up and look. And little did he know the police were going to hook him up, polygraph and check him. And he ended up failing it. He lied about other murders and stuff. So after the summer of 1960, the trail went cold. The attacks stopped as abruptly as they had begun. Did the killer get arrested for an unrelated crime? Did he move to another city, or did he simply die, taking his secret to the grave? It's a frustrating end to a horrific chapter in LA history. 6 women lost their lives, and their families never received justice because of a nameless phantom decided to turn an innocent child's toy into a symbol of absolute terror. So you got this guy. I mean, this is wild because out of everybody that we've talked about on this show over the past, well, almost year now, if not year, we've never covered anybody. We've covered guys that have their different quirks and different things that they use, BTK, he named himself. I mean, for God's sakes, nobody even named the guy, and he had to think of his own name for himself. But you have these guys and women too, that go out there and they kill, and some of them use different, weapons, objects, stuff like that. But this guy, he tries to go outside the box and come up and it's going to make me think about it every time that I have a bouncing rubber ball now, you know. Um, Heaven forbid now that my kid's going to want to get one, you know, and I'm going to have to hear this bouncing ball and I'm going to think about it. But it's wild because it's like, man, out of all things, you know, a good friend of mine, him and his wife, he recommended this one and asked if I would cover it. And I looked into it and I'm just like, the bouncing ball killer. I'm like, at first I'm like, did he kill people by throwing a ball at him or something? Like, wow, he's got a pretty good dodgeball hand if that's the case, you know. But then I got into it and did my research and stuff, and I'm just like, holy crap, this one's wild. There's and then to think that they never found out, they thought they had somebody, and come to find out, they never found him. And this was back in the 60s, and they never found him. It's a cold case, and maybe one day it'll randomly come back up because I know a few of them are starting to come back up again. Texas Killing Fields, they have a couple of prospects, and there's another one too. And who knows? This could eventually, you know, randomly. The guy's probably long gone and dead by now, but you just never know. I mean, stranger things have happened. But yeah, to think that this guy got away with it for all those years, but he had to have been walking around on eggshells, at, you know, checking his back, tracing his or his trails everywhere that he went for the rest of his life, because to try to hide that kind of crime. And then he only did 6, but there could have been more, you know, murders that were not actually connected to this guy. Um, So the case of the bouncing ball killer remains officially unsolved. But the next time you're sitting in the house late at night and you hear a strange, rhythmic thudding from the floor below, just hope it's the house settling. Yeah, right. I don't have a basement or another floor, so I'm okay. Okay. Um, but yeah, this one, like I said, my buddy came to me and asked if we would, you know, cover this, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely. It's been a long time since we covered a really, really old one. I think the last really, really old one we did would be Bonnie and Clyde, and that's a wild story by itself there. But it's just crazy, you know, to kind of just to hear this and to think, you know, the guy was. I think personally, like I said before, he was using that bouncing ball to kind of terrify people, you know, freak them out, terrify them. And I think that's what he was doing with it. Um, I don't think there was anything else with it. Or he could have been doing it to kind of lure them in, too, lure them in, whatever. Making that sound to get them to come downstairs real quick because maybe he's thinking somebody's going to come downstairs unarmed because they're thinking it's like their child or something. And maybe that's why he was doing it, too. I don't know. The whole thing is just wild. And like we said, unfortunately, we will never know. And for the sakes of those victims' families, that's got to be heartbreaking to them because they never had justice served. You know, I'm sure maybe things would have been different if they had fingerprinting and all that available back then too. It sounds to me like this guy was kind of knew what he was doing as far as when he would get into the home, and maybe he was good at not leaving any fingerprint traces behind. I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely a good one. I thank you, you know, Brandon, for bringing this one to my attention, and his wife, Sky. We do appreciate it. This was a good story, a good one to cover. Shorter one, you know, 25, 30 minutes. But when you've got something that's unsolved, you don't really have a whole lot to go off of. There's really no crime scene evidence and footage, especially in that time frame, 60s. You don't really have anything to go off of per se. So it has been so far great. Season 2. Season 2 has been phenomenal so far. We are going to have 2 more episodes before we hit the season finale of season 2 and finish season 2 off. And then right after that, we will fire into season 3. And I have some ideas on what I want a topic per se I'd like to stick to for season 3, or a lot of it, but we will see. Time will tell, and you guys will just have to wait. So this is episode 23 already, and we're going to do 25 episodes for season 2 here. And we'll go out with the big bang for the season finale on the 25th episode in 2 weeks here. We'll go out with a big one. We'll have a little bit of fun with it. Maybe like a little Q&A like we did last time at the end of season 1 there. I don't know. We'll see. But we are trying to get to 500 subscribers here on YouTube. And here's what our goal is with this. We were recently talking about this. When we hit that, we can do the subscriptions after that, memberships, they call them, where they're paid ones. And we can set the amount. We're not going to do anything crazy because we know times are tough and, economy is high right now. We get that. It would probably be like $1.99 a month type subscription, membership. And what we would do is after shows, we kind of do like our own little, aftermath type show where we kind of sit around and shoot the breeze and bullshit. And, people that are paid, memberships they have, they can come in and be a part of that live. Members only type live, but we're shooting around the idea yet. We're not sure. We'll get back to that. Chris had come up with that idea, and we were kind of bouncing it around a little bit. So yeah, we'll let you guys know, but we got to hit 500 subscribers first before we can do that. So we're at 247 currently, so we got a ways to go, but we'll get there. We'll get there. In a little less than a year, we hit 247 subscribers, which is triple the amount that I ever thought. I thought right now maybe we'd be lucky to be at 50, so, and the streaming numbers are just ungodly insane. That crash episode that we did a few weeks back when we had Christine Russo on here, that is hit 400 streams now, which is nuts. That's the highest out of any episode that we've ever done so far. The second highest is the Idaho 4, and that's like 275 streams. So yeah, 400 streams for the crash one, and it's just nuts. So we do appreciate it. We are on Pandora with Sirius XM Radio now. You can catch the podcast show on there too as well. Other than that, we're on all the other streaming platforms. We do appreciate all the likes and shares. Just keep spreading the word if you can. You're out and about. A lot of people like the true crime. Keep spreading it. Say, hey, I know this awesome, fantastic true crime podcast show, and they go live every Saturday on the YouTube, We do appreciate everybody that likes, subscribes, and shares, and we appreciate everybody in any other, countries that listen to us too as well. Thank you for all the love and all the support. Other than that, we hope that everybody has a rest of a good weekend and a great week next week. And other than that, we will see you guys next week, the same time here. And we'll post throughout the week who we are going to be covering next week for episode 24. Alrighty, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Everybody enjoy the rest of your night. Take care.